Welcome, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insight, the last half of my conversation, the last portion of my ballot. But hopefully you voted before the deadline. Great effort from Scott and Bart and Ray. And thank you, sponsors, Topps, Upper Deck, Panini, Heritage Auctions, Hugs the Scott Auctions, Mike Stadium Sports Cards, Burbank Sports Cards, ComC.com, and Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentications. Put it on your calendar for every year. Thanks again, guys. Here it is. Earl, actually, I ranked him 8th. Back in the 70s, 80s, when I was more aggressively buying collections and before I was doing price guides, when you found 79 Topps, you only looked for one card. Now, he had a league leader and a record breaker, but just look for the one card. If that card was in there and in good shape, that was good.
Greatest highlight films ever.
And that's who I played in college because he was at University of Texas and I was at SMU. He was a human battering ram and he paid the price. He paid the price.
He's not in great shape.
He hammered himself into a wheelchair. Yeah. So I really feel bad about that. But
this Monday Night Football games were just legendary games. I watched him. They tore his jersey off and they couldn't stop it. I mean,
you just, he broke it down simple. He's getting through the line and there's somebody in front of him. Is he going to juke him left? He's going straight through. Let's see.
Ronnie
Lott. I didn't vote for Ronnie Lott. Again, 49ers, a little bit Cowboys nemesis during some of those years. All around good football player. I think he could have played linebacker and safety, cornerback, whatever. But I didn't vote for him. Just too many others ahead of him. LT, I think this card will eventually get in. He's probably in the teens for me. I did not vote for him, but is he my 15th or somewhere in there? Same thing. If you get an 82 Topps set, that's the card you look for. So that's extra points for me. And you guys know he's got an inaction card, the very next number. And it's not a dog. It's in his rookie year, but the demand drop-off is so amazing. I think new collectors maybe haven't figured that out. Hey, it's his rookie year. Yeah, but it's a good looking set.
I think he's faulted by the picture they chose on that one. If they'd have just had him standing there in a blue Giants jersey looking tough, he'd probably do a lot better there.
I agree. It shows him being contemplative. Yeah, and I don't think that's in his vocabulary.
Not in 82, it wasn't.
He was a heat-seeking missile. If it moved, he was going to squish it. Both of the next two, let's see. Steve Young, I did not vote for that. I could eventually get in. I had Reggie as 7th on my ballot of 10 because, number one, he's passed away. Not number one, he's passed away, but number one, he was great. Number two, there's a lot of discussion about the true rookie card, and it's not pack pulled, but it's a legitimate card, and it's always been a card that's been in demand because he doesn't pick up with Topps for a couple of years. I regard this as an XRC, obviously, and I voted for it. Santa Claus, the best thing I can say is keep it on the ballot. I think it's a novelty. Dion, I have Dion in my football section, even his baseball cards, just because he was a decent baseball player, but football, he was unbelievable. And I think that card could actually get in at some point, but not this time for me.
Gotcha.
Okay, big surprise, big reveal. I have the Bo supplemental 3rd on my ballot.
Wow.
If you're doing a popular card Hall of Fame, you want to turn heads and show people that football cards are interesting and nostalgic, but just have not an edge in a bad way, but are taking graphic liberties to do something creative. Can you imagine that card is 37 years old?
37 years old. Oh, my God.
That guy was amazing. If he had not gotten injured, he would have had...
Oh, man.
He had set records. Okay, so that was 3rd. The Lombardi Trophy, I had 12th. And I would have it higher if it weren't for the fact that the Stanley Cup Pro Set did is the bigger deal.
Yeah.
And so when somebody does a hockey card Hall of Fame, I would vote for that. And if that got in, then at some point, this was extremely innovative. And so I had it as 12th.
Okay.
So it's not going to make my ballot. Emmett, I've met Emmett several times. I think he's a good guy. I remember hearing about him when he was in high school from a friend of mine that was from Pensacola. I was over there. So we get this high school running back. He's great. You're going to hear all about him. He's not so fast, but he had vision. You could see what was happening before it happened. So just great career. Unfortunately, Emmett, not voting for you for this card, but it's a good card. Favre, did not vote for him either. He's a complicated guy. A great quarterback. The durability records back when we were doing price guides, Favre and Marino and Elway were similar in price. And Marino is passed up Elway, who's passed up Favre, I think.
Right.
Okay, surprise. Number 5, I'm voting for this, Peyton. I want to get some newer cards in here. Peyton, he's got the additional, although Ditka had this too, of he's funny. So I think being funny, and he was a great quarterback.
Yeah.
And
Smart.
made the most of what he had. He understood the game. So he's my 5th pick on that. Then for Brady, he's my number 1 pick. A few years ago, I said, this has got to be in. And I don't think it was on the ballot the first year or two because you were capping it at maybe only doing the 20th century. But this is such a glamour card in the hobby, and it will be an enduring one. And I remember back when we were doing the price guides, and when something is a rookie card, if it was too limited, the collectors would get frustrated because they wanted to get a complete set. They wanted to get all the rookie cards. And I would say it's accessible. It's accessible for anybody that has a lot of money. But there's a bunch of them. But I have this, my first pick on my ballot, just because I think people would expect to see that. I'm not making Patrick Mahomes wait. And the card you're showing, it's representative of all the Mahomes parallels to this. Eventually, Mahomes has to get in. Absolutely, but not this year for me. But every year, whether it's people writing in or you guys being aware of what's going on, there are going to be more and more of Josh Allen and Herbert and Joe Burrow. Are you guys having a little bit of a make them wait just to even get on the ballot if they're still a current player?
The modern stuff hasn't done well enough for us to try to continue to infuse the ballot with more and more. Because Brady's SP Authentic got punted off the list. When those cards are failing to even get enough votes to stay in the top 40 of the vote, then Josh Allen is going to be a long ways out still. We're not excluding him, but the voters are not to put him in there yet.
So you're saying the demand is not there. You're not making them wait. Maybe the potential voters are thinking, just like the regular Halls of Fame, you need to be retired for a few years.
Right.
We had Damian Tomlinson fall off the list. We had Ray Lewis fall off the list. So this hasn't been the demand. But the voters seem to want more vintage variety to get in first, it would seem.
Yeah, and when those guys only have just a few key rookies and that well-known one not getting their votes, these modern era guys that'll have 40 or 50 different rookies without one leading the trend. It'll be hard to pick one too. So it'll be interesting in a couple of years when we have to split those hairs.
Dr. Beckett, as you were perusing the ballot, was there any vintage that came to your mind you thought should deserve to look? Maybe Raymond Barry or Herb Adderley? Just thinking out loud.
Raymond Barry, another SMU guy. I met him a long time ago, and he was a very nice man, very soft-spoken, and his personality fit his football demeanor of running precise routes, great hands, not super fast, but really reliable. Of course, he had Johnny Unitas throwing to him, but he was a SMU Mustang where I went. He's passed away now. He's worthy, but Horning's got to go in way before Raymond Barry. I don't know if we've talked about this, whether there's some kind of a limit on a set or limit on a player that you don't want to have more than 3 of any set or more than 3 of any player. That's an artificial constraint. But in the interest of getting more breadth and coverage, it's a thought. But you guys are the brain trust, right? Other than once you put the ballot out there, you're saying, who do you guys want in?
I guess we could shape it. We only want so many of one set in a given time. And when the next one that we might introduce of that set is potentially, in that case, like a Raymond Barry, there's no chance it deserves to get in before Hornung. So if Hornung's still struggling, that he's in the middle of the pack or something, we're still maybe a year away from putting Barry on the list type of thing. That logic is definitely in the conversations.
The same reason people like vintage is these guys that passed away, they can't mess up. They're going to be popular at that level, but they also are not going to do anything in the public square. They're not going to have a scandal, but if somebody had a record and that record was passed, then you'd remember, oh, yeah, that guy was great. So it's hard for them to make up ground. In the Baseball Hall of Fame, these players consistently work their way up the list in the publishing that he got 20% one year and 30 the next year and 40 the next year. I guess you guys are not publishing that explicitly, but you probably can see that happening in your card Hall of Fame.
I think that's why Bart and Scott lowered it down to 5 because it's just doesn't go back that far like baseball does. And trying to stretch us out. There's still some players left in the 60s, like Larry Zonka and Brian Piccolo. I know he wasn't a great player, but he is a big figure in the history of the game.
For sure.
So Sam Huff and guys like that.
Yeah, it's just very different. We don't have the history and longevity of different sets way back. Plus, we don't have, in the early days, those regional issues and stuff. There's a couple here and there, but not in the same manner. We don't have those food issues. It doesn't get big for football till later. So we got it a little smaller and more honed in for a while.
Right.
The reason why I had 41 out of these 45 cards is because as long as you're talking about Leaf and Bowman and Topps and Fleer and Pro Set Score and these others, basically those were popular mainstream sets that the advanced collectors back in the day would try to complete those sets. And that's just like all the other guys. And baseball came first in those days, but football was a close second if you really liked football. And you'd see them at shows, not as much as baseball. And frankly, they weren't produced as much as baseball. I don't know that we'll ever know exactly what Topps print runs were, but would it have been less than half in the 50s? Having said that, I got to put you guys on the spot because since we last talked, I've not personally been acquired by PSA, but my former company and the brand that has my name on it has been acquired by Collectors, which owns PSA. If PSA came to you guys and said, we want to license your Football Card Hall of Fame,
where do we sign?
To make it a registry, the cards in your Hall of Fame.
Let's go.
Because I guess conceivably there's no Hannes Wagner in there, but if you got enough money, I guess you could get all these that you've been so far.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be awesome. They would need to work with us on updating it every year, and they don't often update stuff.
But it's not that huge. Some buzz.
Right.
We like the 300 great cards by Mike Payne.
And the three of us live on the registry.
It's manageable. It's a positive thing. And I've had this conversation with Nat Turner, and then other people that have not talked to Matt Turner are trying to figure out or hypothesize what he's going to do with his new acquisition, his new shiny toy. And basically all this antitrust stuff or monopoly stuff, basically, I believe he wants to do what's good for the hobby. This guys would be good. You guys stepped out, did this thing. And it's the kind of thing that collectors, with having the largest grading company and having already registries, this is a positive thing that brings positive attention to what you're doing, as well as these are some of the great cards in the whole hobby, especially of football. I would lobby him for that, but I know he's got a long list of things he wants to do. But at this point, it would behoove him to do things that collectors say, hey, thank you for using your market leadership and your market dominance to do something that's going to give us some joy. Although they probably would need to broaden the registry, which I'm also in favor of, including other grading brands. Last time I talked to him, it was mainly him asking me the questions. So it'll be my turn eventually. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But again, you guys are doing it. This would give it an additional level of prominence.
You bring up a good point, though. If the registry allowed for the Becketts and the SGCs to be in there, that registry would blow up and it would really do well. I'm a PSA guy through and through, but it would really do well for the continuation of the SGCs and Becketts. If he's looking to keep those brands alive and strong, that would help a lot.
I did mention to him that I do want to talk to him about that, a more inclusive registry and pop reports under one roof. And I had an idea how to do that. I'm not going to disclose that, but I'm just saying, I said, when you're getting ready to do that, if you want some input, actually, I kind of said, I know what I would do if I were you. If you want to know what I would do if I were you. And he didn't say, you're not me. He just said, well, we'll see when the time comes. But I think that's something they have to be considering, because
it makes sense.
It's like you guys are saying, you guys are hardcore. We're all hardcore. We're lifers. And a lot of the inner circle of most passionate collectors would see there's got to be a way to do that. And so I would push for that.
The 89 score supplemental to Bo Jackson is one of your selections.
I think that would shock people, but that was in the heyday of our magazines and the buzz we had when we put two sport kinds of photos and artwork on the covers of our magazines. They just did great. He was a cultural phenomenon.
If the Pro Football Hall of Fame is making Belichick weight, how come you're not making Brady weight on your ballot?
There's a theory on that. They're going to make Brady wait until
I heard that
he's going to go in when Belichick and Robert Kraft get in a few years. And they don't have the guts to make Brady wait. But the point being, their success is so inextricably intertwined. But I think they all had greatness, each in a different way. But Brady did it on the field, and Belichick did it with different casts and found a way to, I just don't even know how he did it, but he was a great coach in a certain way. Now, you've never had Belichick on the ballot. He doesn't have good enough cards. He's got a pro set.
I was all for that Belichick and Kraft now, because the way the voting works, it leaves votes for L.C. Greenwood, Roger Craig, and Ken Anderson to get in because they're in that same grouping. And I'd love to see Roger Craig get in this year, so that'd be awesome.
Ken Anderson.
I think it's Craig, then Anderson, then LC in that order. And I don't think LC Greenwood's going to get in. But the 49ers were pretty close to a dynasty. And Roger Craig was central to that and was the prototypical run and catch guy.
3 touchdowns. Super Bowl.
Yeah, he was the first versatile running back I can remember that would get 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving, which was unheard of at that time.
He led the league in receptions one year.
Bart made a great point. Without having these regional hot dog issues baseball had in the 50s, those are just amazing, interesting artwork of players people love. What you have is mainly mainstream, great football cards.
The superstar players, they don't really have strong secondary cards either. There are other years of cards. It's not like Mantle where he can get cards into the Baseball Card Hall of Fame with 51s, 52s, and 53 all the way off. The second most popular Jim Brown card, it's not going to make the ballot, whether that's the 62 or the 59. It's just not even close.
It's pretty much got to be all the rookies, yeah.